Well, the sun is still shining out there. There's still leaves on the trees, and the air is still not too cold, but it's now the fall equinox, the end of summer, the beginning of fall. This time of year, we can really feel that this is the time to pass into the dark side of the year. It's like the sunset of the year. If we look at the year like it's a day, this is the sunset. Now, for the next 6 months, it's going to be more dark than light. And that is definitely an adjustment. This time of year, we're saying goodbye to the summer and preparing to welcome the cold season. It's like the summer here, there's almost like a sense of innocence that comes with the summer because, it's just so much easier to be comfortable outside. Like, I guess it's not as clear with living in our well air conditioned and heated modern living environment. But in some basic way, it feels like the summer you can just be, out in your t-shirt and you don't really have to worry about staying warm. Whereas in the winter, you need to find that warmth somewhere. It's like there's like a less friendliness, regardless of your personal taste for what season you like. There's a sense that in the summer, in the warm environment, you could survive outside with no home. You could just survive in the pleasant land around you. Maybe it gets too hot, but still it's not going to kill you. So you could sort of live innocently on the land somehow. Whereas in the cold months, in this part of the world anyway, you can't survive without some kind of shelter. The cold would actually be deadly in the winter. So there's that sense that the winter, to me, as I see it, and in this part of the world, I see the winter has a feeling of being a bit more dangerous, a bit more harsh, more challenging, and more demanding. Whereas the summer has more of that feeling of easiness and of carefreeness. So as we now make this moment marking the switch from the light side to the dark side of the year, the warm side to the cold side, now there's that almost like a feeling of losing innocence, like a feeling that, the playing is done. You're being called in to do some serious work. So I get that feeling now in the fall where now building up to the winter, it's time to get a little bit more serious. There's a little bit of that, less of that carefreeness in the air, and the coldness of the air kind of grabs my attention and makes me focus more on really being more serious about building something for the winter. As much as this is like, living in our climate controlled modern accommodation, we don't actually have to worry about any of this. We can have basically the same environment all year through our, easy climate control. But still, I find there's something about the weather that brings out this feeling. And another thing about this time of year is that this is the time of year when the change is happening fast. So in the summer and the winter, you kind of, you get this there's sort of a regularity of this is the weather over a few months. You get a few months of summer, a few months of winter. And in terms of the light and the temperature, it stays relatively stable. But during the period of the spring and fall, now every day, the sun now in the fall is rising later, setting earlier. The change is happening fast. It's several minutes every day of change to the sun, and the weather is quickly changing. It can quickly shift between the warm and cold, and it's moving towards the cold. There's this feeling of rapid change. And I think that also brings out the feeling of time to get to work, to move into the next phase. So that feeling of being able to relax in the current season and it just gets this feeling of going on forever, that's gone now. And now it's time to prepare for the darker, colder, and more difficult half of the year and do what we need to do to move things into the next season. And that's how I feel about this time of year, the fall equinox, and moving into the winter.